Hey, this is Kate. That's Unity Bees. I'm out here in my backyard, hoping that the universe could hear me. I'm going to take a deep breath, and I'm going to finish my story. I did part 1. It's about time I do part 2. So, I don't know where I was, but I'm going to talk about my visions and just flow. I'm going to ask God, Jesus, to come into my life, which is already here. She's already here. But I ask that you put a protection around me right now. Let me only speak of love and light and truth, and let my words not glorify me, glorify all your name, what you did. May my words help somebody who maybe is going through what I'm going through, but just maybe they're too depressed to even speak on it. I'll be their voice. All right. So, I've told you that I have been dealing with hacking and some very dark things. I don't know why. I really don't. I think like, well, I know I've done, question things. But the only reason I question is because I can see what's going on around me. And I don't understand it. So I seek. Because that's what Jesus told me to seek, and you'll find me, and I do. But when you find light, you'll find darkness too. And what I've learned is darkness likes to possess. It likes to attach itself to innocence. Anything that's the closest thing to light. Anything. And what's sad is any being can have light. Any single being can have light. But they're too lazy, or they're too stuck in ego, or thinking they're a god, or thinking that they're above humans or above beings. And that's why that they will never get that quenched. They'll never ever have that satisfaction that they think humans have, or they think somebody else that they admire has, because they don't even realize that they have it within themselves. And I'm gonna light the cigarette. My whole life, I told you about my innocence getting taken, all the mistakes I've made and the bad choices I made, the 14 years on and off in prison. My parents took care, my mom took care of me, and my brother would come visit me my first bit. I was like a juvenile, in the juvenile prison. I was like, I don't know, 18 or 19. And I did 2 years, I think, something like that. And it was like vacation, honestly. I was a juvenile. I was in there with kids. The COs were hitting on me. Kind of had a little boyfriend in there and a girlfriend. It's a world within a world for sure. My mom came and saw me all the time. My books were swole. I got out near my birthday. They had a huge birthday party for me, my 21st. So I got fucked up, drunk. And I remember I still had a girlfriend that came home, that she cheated on me. I'm used to that. And I talked to her, and I remember my brother getting mad about it. I think because he cared for me so much, he just didn't want to see me go back and do, my old behavior. Well, because I never faced any of the trauma, I never really talked about how abortion affected me, how this society is so distorted. I'm going to speak about it. Yeah, women have rights, but men have rights too. They slept with the mom. I never understood that. Yeah, it's a woman's body, it is. But the woman chose to sleep with a man, and the man's sperm is in the woman, so that's confusing to me. I don't think abortion it's killing. And I'm just going to speak on that, say whatever, do whatever. It affected me deeply. Anyone that has an abortion and can say it means nothing, you might want to check out ask God for some help. Ask God to show you what life is. Ask God to put a little baby in your life that you have to take care of. That you don't have a choice. You have to have that baby. That's your responsibility. because a baby didn't choose to come into this world. A baby sure the fuck didn't choose for you to lay down with a man and sleep with him and get pregnant. I know about rape, and I know things can happen, and it is horrible. But there's also adoption. There's parents out there that have, can't have kids for some reason. And I think that you should give it up for adoption because, yes, if a man raped you, and I've heard even Christians say, but why would you want to rape the seed? And you're like, how, what? It's a baby. That's a baby. Everybody has light in us. But I'll never forget it. When I went to have my abortion, I was crying the whole way there. And I have receipts, my best, well, she used to be my best friend, Tara Pasco. Shout out to you. She was with me, and she can tell you. I was crying all the way there. My mom drove. She looked at me and she said, we'll probably go to hell for this. And I'm like, well, I didn't want to do this. Go into Planned Parenthood. And they treat it, they're killing the baby. They treat it like it's like you're getting your tooth pulled. A baby. By the way, that has a heartbeat. I was 6 weeks pregnant. I was a juvenile. I was underage, so I couldn't sign, do it. And my mom's reasoning, like I said, was she didn't want me to lose. She said, I know you're trying to save the life of your child, but I'm trying to save the life of mine. I don't want your body to get ruined, all this vanity stuff. And that's not her fault. That's how she was raised. But I'm breaking the curses today. I'm breaking these chains of vanity and all the shit that kept me in fucking hell. So, you sign your name at Planned Parenthood. It's around. It's all, right? All of these. It's weird. I had my phone notification goes off, like I said, I'm trying to speak truth. Anything that's distorted will try to destroy it, but you could never destroy light, ever, or energy. Think about that. Before you want to do something to somebody else, the person that you're doing something to, it can't be destroyed. Anyway, you go to Planned Parenthood, and you sign your name. And I remember the faces of, the girls, women. Some couldn't wait to just get it over with, get it done. Probably, maybe they'd done it before, I don't know what, and I can't tell you how they thought. But I also remember the other ones that were crying and how it hurt. It was painful. They didn't want to really do it. I don't know if their man made them do it or if they, were raised, that you couldn't, or whatever it is. God forgives everybody. God forgives all. So no matter what we do, no matter if you had 100 abortions, if you're truly sorry and you ask for forgiveness, God forgives you. I had one abortion, and but I know I've let it go, and I know that God, when my time comes, that Jesus will hand me the baby. I know that. I know the babies are with me. Well, I went into the waiting room because I looked at all those people. My mom, she was reading a magazine. Tara was biting her nails. Called my name. Of course, I went in there by myself. And before you have an abortion, they make you hear a heartbeat. Not a heartbeat, your child's heartbeat. And I'm a child, And they said, we have to before you go through the procedure, you have to hear the heartbeat of your child. So we want to make sure that you really are okay with this. And I said, okay, but can you go ask my mom if she could come in here with me? Sure. The nurse goes in, goes out, asks my mom. She comes back. My mom's not with her. I already knew. Honey, I'm sorry. Your mom didn't want to. I know it's too hard on my mom. I get it. I understand. That hurt. That was something that I needed my mom, and she wasn't there, but that's okay. I forgave her. I love her because my mom had a lot of stuff that she went through, but my mom was there with the times that I need her. Like, I think my mom's here for me now more than she's ever been. That makes sense. And she's passed away. Because my mom was addicted to pain pills and alcohol. My dad refused to believe that. I think it hurt him too much. Maybe he knew. Maybe he was embarrassed and maybe it just hurt him. He's got a beautiful heart. But sometimes when we ignore things and we enable things, we let it fester like a boil and it gets infected and it kills us. And that's what happened. So I heard it and I went through the procedure and all that. And I mean, I was doing cocaine the next day. I mean, I was fucked up. It was bad. Again, this is my choice. Again, I chose to have sex. I chose to, uh, my mom said, you'll have to, you'll either you have the abortion or you got to leave the house. And I mean, I really didn't have anywhere to go. My best friend, like I told you, I was at her house and she had a trailer, which is nothing wrong with the trailer at all. I love it. Actually, I used to own one. Um, but her brother was there. He was drinking. It was just weird. And I don't like being you know, uh, what is it? Uh, upsetting anybody or being like, whatever. So anyway, I didn't really have anywhere to go, so I did it, and I wanted to please my mom, actually, to tell the truth. I did it because I wanted my mom to be happy. I wanted to make her happy. I wanted to do something she wanted me to do, as I always did. Until I got older, I just rebelled, and actually, I rebelled even before that. Um, but anyway, so I have to say that because, and yes, everybody has the right to do whatever they want. And if somebody has the right to do whatever they want to their body, then they should have the right, then we should have drugs. Heroin should be legal. Now, see how serious, crazy this sounds? Because we all have a choice, right? It's our body, right? Well, they say that they suspend drugs and they suspend alcohol, all that stuff, or not alcohol, but drugs, heroin and stuff, because it hurts ourselves and it hurts. Well, what do you think killing a baby does? After that, I used to watch these videos all the time about abortion. I don't know why. Maybe because it ate at me so much. I I remember seeing this nurse, and she was like, how they have people like a recovery for people addicted to sex or addicted to gambling, or meetings for whatever. Well, there was meetings for codependency or grief or whatever. She was a nurse who, there was, in some states, you can have an abortion up to fucking 8 months pregnant. Doesn't matter. And she said that they gave the abortion, the baby came out alive. I guess the shot or whatever they do to kill the baby that's moving around, probably couldn't wait to come out, see its mom, see somebody, see the new world, and it came out alive. And she was like, I would have took the baby, I'd had that baby, and I held it in my arms, and the doctor said, no, it's an abortion. It cannot be alive. What are you supposed to do? You take it in that room, you let it cry, you know what to do, and shut the door. And that's what they did. That's what our world has come down to, right? And I know, and I'm not scared to get canceled. I don't have a platform. Even if I did, I wouldn't give a fuck. I'm going to speak the truth of how I feel. This does not mean this is how you feel. You don't have to agree to it. And you sure the fuck don't got to listen to my crazy ass. But I'm going to keep it 100. I don't understand it. I'm not judging anybody that's had abortions. I'm not judging anybody that's murdered. Shit, you could murder me 1,000 times and I'd forgive you. It's just who I am, because I know that we all have a purpose and a plan. And my faith is much stronger than anybody could ever know in God. Now, I'm eating a cupcake that I made. And I had to microwave it because it still was doughy, but it's good. Tastes like a butter cake. I didn't realize how that affected me. A lot. I thought it took me 45 years to really forgive myself. To forgive my mom. just to forgive I was mad at God. Sometimes I still get mad. I get frustrated. Like, well, I'm praying. Why aren't you helping me? Why am I going through this? Why is it you're allowing my phone? And I talk about all the time. I can't. I feel like I'm being somebody's. I'm definitely, my shit's getting compromised. Couldn't go through school, college. Somebody stole my account. And just for probably reimbursement money. Or just because I did something to them, and I don't know what. I've asked God. Because God, they act like I was whatever, and and it's not all. I stole from people to get money for drugs, or to buy a friend, or to get, and this is the truth, to get other people diapers and shit because they couldn't work. They didn't want to work. Uh, anyway, I made the decision, and I also spent time in prison for shit I didn't do. Most of it I did. But the other I didn't is because I was with a man I thought loved me, who ended up being with the neighbor as soon as I hit jail. So, never forget, she answered the phone. And that's what I don't understand about women. It's like, ma'am, and listen, I haven't done a lot, but I've been with a married man, which was him, but she was having an affair, it was just a whole crazy marriage. Still, I asked for forgiveness and all that crap, too, about that, and God forgave me. Friends with them all, whatever, but I don't understand, like, men and women, like, if you're married, why not leave the person? Is it guilt? Is it you're a pussy? You just gotta cheat? I don't get it. Um, I've cheated before. Not much. I'm not a cheater, really. Unless I get cheated on. Okay, I'm done eating. Unless I get cheated on. Or unless, I used to play tit for tat. Because, well, fuck, being married to a man you don't even know is hard. I used to worry about his feelings, talking, but I think he's part of silence in me, so I don't think anybody will hear it, and really, I don't care, because I think it's just me and the universe, and God, Jesus Christ sitting next to me, angels, different beings can hear me. That's cool. Maybe they can help me. I never understood, though, especially this. See, my other relationship, I had kids. I didn't realize trauma because I covered it up so much with drugs. See, like when I had a miscarriage, right? Now, I was on drugs, so was, my significant other. But I'll never forget that day either. I woke up and my vagina, excuse me, if this is any kids, should have said this. Listen to this, do not. Was so swollen, I knew something had happened. I thought, what the heck? But it was just him and I. So, and the trailer, actually, I had bought a trailer. I was working at Big O's Get and Go. Funny, he was a Christian guy, cool cat. I was only making like $4.50 an hour, but shit, I thought that was so much. Busting my ass, son. It was a gas station, but it was a country place. They had pizza and food. It was really nice. But I remember, like, oh my God, something's wrong with me. Like, what happened to me? Like, I was in so much pain. I went to the hospital. He took me, and I had to get squatted. I went to the little tiny hospital, and it was so bad, or they had to do something. I had to go to get, because I was having a miscarriage. They had to take me all the way to Knoxville. I'll never forget him telling me that he had sex with me. Like, he knocked me out, had sex with me, whatever he did, because I was knocked out. I don't remember. He must have gave me something, did something. Maybe I don't know. Because I didn't have sex with him for a week. Now, listen, I don't blame him, and I forget, I love him. Yeah, I know he was on drugs, but, and I didn't look at that as trauma. I don't know what he put in me, what he did to me, but I had to face that. I had to walk through that darkness. I had to forgive. I had to own it. And I had to, let it go and let him go. Hey, I love you. And you know, I'm glad you're doing it. I always want the best for everybody. But there's people in our lives that we're just not meant to be with forever. They have their own universe they can create. They have their own uh, choices, frequencies to align with. I don't know their path. They don't know mine. But I didn't realize how traumatic that was. I mean, that's pretty bad. Not knowing what he stuck in me, I don't. And then 4 or 5 days later, I brought it up to him, and he goes, "Oh, I was just kidding. Oh, just because I guess he was scared I was going to do something, or I don't know." But I knew in my heart he did it. I mean, you can't. How do you wake up? Come on. So, and it was so fucking painful. I was in so much pain. I'll never forget that, man. I think after that, no, I had my son, because I had my next baby I had in jail. That was my fault. I was shooting dope. Got arrested. His family turned me in. I went back to Tennessee to get it's my daughter's third birthday, and I wanted to see her, even though I was busting scripts and fucked up. And I have to tell this because I know there's a woman out there that's pregnant, shooting dope, doing dope, thinking she doesn't want to live because she's been through so much. Because her man, he's abused me. I abused him. I've done fucked up shit, but he used me. Him and his family used me. Period. Period. I mean, shit on me. Me being so naive and dumb, just wanting love, man, would do whatever. Just because I thought I was confused about what love was and what love isn't. I'll just say. And so I went to fucking Tennessee for my daughter. It was like 2009. And I was on the news. My family put me on the news because they knew I was just. And what I did was I was working at a hair salon, and I stole credit card numbers. And I would order stuff and then have somebody pick it up and split it with them. And that's how I'd get our dope. And I mean, not just for me, the whole house. Or how we would eat or whatever. And it's horrible, okay? So, but at least I had common sense to have my sister take my child. But then it was horrible because I was pregnant. I'd even hide it. I remember calling a friend of mine who sold dope, a girl, and she had a crush on me. And I remember putting my hair in a hat. I had long hair because she thought I was like a tomboy because I told you I shaved my head in prison a long time ago just to get commissary and stuff because my mom cut me off, tough luck. And I had to survive in there. That was my mentality. So, and I asked for forgiveness for all the girls that I used and stuff. But anyway, they used me too. They thought I was look like a boy. But any girl that shaves her head, doesn't wear makeup, you're not going to look very feminine, let me tell you. And it got news for you. So, I never cared when people made fun of me. My sister liked to bring that shit up to my boyfriends, thinking they'd leave me, maybe fuck with her. Probably did. I know a couple of them did. Not my oldest sister. But that's not, I shouldn't even talk about that. Because I love my sisters. I love my brother, I love my family. We all make mistakes, I guess. And but I knew that the guilt, I did not want to get high pregnant. So I went to a hospital, and because I was born on the news, a friend of mine, we'll just call him Bluntzers, gave me a fake ID who actually ended up being someone close to my husband's family. It's all crazy. And so I used a fake ID, and I went to Good Sam's and wanted to get off dope, try to get off dope. And because I was pregnant, they tried to put me on methadone. And, but you know what I did? I still had that cell phone on. And I was staying in an apartment where, I was the fisherman for fucking, not God, I'll tell you that. And I was a fisherman for who can I use to go pick up a false prescription that I called in so that I could get high, pregnant. Who can I get a needle from, clean it out with bleach and pray I don't get anything, which thank God I don't. Who can I get? How can I mean, what can I do? I mean, I had hepatitis C, and I want to share that. But I went and did the interferon, because when you get clean, they have to make sure you're at least 6 months clean. I proved that, and now I don't have it, thank God. I didn't even know there was a cure, but there is. If you get clean, and if you do catch hepatitis C, and they find it, or whatever, find out, there is a cure. I don't have it anymore. God bless. That's God. Well, where was I? So anyway, this girl, yeah, she sold dope. I knew I could take advantage of her because when I'm getting high, I don't give a fuck. I'll be Kevin, Katie, Patty, an old lady, and I'll do whatever, because I don't want to feel. I didn't even want to live. Shoot me up, do whatever. I don't care. Just save the baby. I don't care. But I want to make sure that baby, so I went to the hospital anyway. Phone kept ringing. It lasted like 2 days. And at that time, I don't know, one of the people ended up telling on me, they always do, which I don't, so, and blah, blah, blah. Like, fuck, are you, your shit. If you made the choices, and you put yourself, and you're guilty, don't fucking blame anybody else for your bullshit. If they did it because of money, which people used to tell me, just get a reward, my best friend, whatever. God knows people's motives, okay? But don't fucking blame anybody else for telling on you when you fucking made your own bed. Hold yourself accountable. So that's why I don't get mad. I still talk to somebody who I didn't even do the robbery, and the girls did. And I talked to her still. I was mad. She lied. She straight up lied, testified, and everything. She'll tell you. I'm not going to put her name out there, though, but she wants to someday come on my podcast and talk about it. I'd love to have her on. I love her, She was scared. Everybody thinks I'm always strong. I can handle it, I can handle prison. Well, I was a kid, too. That fucked my life up. But, oh, well. Anyway, where was I? My friend. I'm not going to say her name. I do love her. She's good people. But, and she had a crush on me. So, I remember this dude, Bo, who died. R.I.P. He actually overdosed. And I was told that I wasn't here. I was like in Florida when it happened. But I was told he was in Kentucky and ice cold. He shot. This is how the disease. This is not disease. It's not a disease. Because God can remove it. You don't need a meeting if you truly are tapped in. But I encourage people to go to meetings because do whatever you can, man, not to shoot that dope, not to get whatever your vice is, do whatever you can to never touch the things that make you fall. So anyway, I guess he shot up and he was with some people supposed to be his friends, and he overdosed. And I guess they were scared because I guess they thought they'd get charged with murder or whatever. And instead of calling the police, they just threw him out in the cold. And when I guess somebody found him, he was frozen, barely clothed, like sitting like somebody would sit in a chair, but he was on the ground, like they said. He was a good dude, man. He was just on drugs, man. Doesn't mean he's a bad person. Even if people steal, they don't want to do that. Let me not speak for people. I didn't want to do that. And I know a lot of people that I've talked to and I've heard their story didn't want, and I can feel the remorse. So anyway, he was helping. He was like, come on, hook 'em, Kate, and all this stuff. Get some dope, get whatever you can. And so, I took her out to eat, I had just busted a script, so I had money, and I got a mouthpiece on me. But, when we're addicts or whatever, I could talk somebody into having a ketchup stick that has white gloves. I mean, it's just, we learn to be manipulative, to be the best liars, the best at anything. I would be the best at, I would learn whatever if I could just not feel. Just get me high. Let me die. Don't care. That was my mentality. I called out to God, where are you? Like, I was crazy. I was losing and my faith has been my rock my whole life. You know, I always cried for my kids. I always did. It's fucking crazy. And my parents and my brother and my oldest sister, my family, my sister too. But I went with her, went out to dinner, and I talked her out of fronting me a lot of dope, and I lied and said I wasn't using. Of course, I wore a jersey. She didn't see my arms or anything. If she had, she probably wouldn't have fronted me shit. And who knows? I really don't know my mentality if I was shooting dope pregnant. You know, maybe I just was on a suicide mission and felt bad for. I don't know. But it's crazy because when I had my son, he didn't have nothing in his system. That was crazy too. But I did try to get clean. That was one thing I was, pretty couldn't believe it. But not that that makes up for anything. But she gave me a bunch of dope, and of course, I thought we'd sell it and flip it and all this stuff. And I had such great intentions of being now what fucking dope fiend can be a dope dealer? I busted scripts and fucking had thousands of pills and didn't have shit because I'm taking care of a whole household and getting used, and everything's going to dope. Didn't probably even have panties. Didn't have a toothbrush to brush my teeth, but we had dope. That was gold. That's what makes us not feel. That's what made me not feel my mom and dad being away from them on Christmas, or Thanksgiving, or my dreams and my intentions that I really wanted to be the person I wanted to be, but because I felt so bad because I robbed my neighbors for alcohol, and I really, and lied and put my best friend, it was his house in it, and he didn't know have anything to do with it. I love him, and but I never took her jewelry or took their jewelry, nothing, and I even told them they did though. These girls, that's who told on me. I just wanted alcohol, which it doesn't make it. I own my shit, but anyway, that's in the past. But that it hurts. I cared. Because anything really I did, they used to call me Robin Hood. It was, if I was straight, even clean, there were so many times it wasn't a probation or nothing. I wanted to go to rehab just because I didn't want to get high anymore. Because I knew what it felt like to be clean. I knew the miracles that come with that. I knew, when you're not shooting dope, even if I was, drinking a little bit, because that was never my thing anyway, or whatever, smoking weed, and, I never took me out my game. It was always dope. That opiates, that was my thing. And I'll never forget, being used, stealing, even robbing my parents, stealing their jewelry, whatever, to feed people, to buy kids toys that were broke, that I felt bad living in a trailer park, and to get high. And the fucked up thing is I knew I was going to prison. You know where I got from that? They were handed, this is how stupid, this is the same family. They would use me so bad they'd give me 3 Ultrams. Ultrams, I don't know if I could call them men today, but I don't call them any. I'm just saying. I shouldn't have said that because I don't. It's just a term. They're not. It used to be non-narcotic, but they are addictive. She was giving me that. I was doing it for that. Okay, but in my mind, I'm like, oh, but these girls, they don't have anything. Well, you know what? The fucking parents should have got a fucking job and took care of their kids. I didn't see it like that because I wanted love. If anybody's felt like that, my values were so misplaced. My intentions, what I thought love was, is not. You cannot buy love. Love doesn't abuse you. Love does not lie. Love does not cheat. Love holds you accountable. I would rather you tell me I'm a piece of shit, you're doing shit that's wrong, Katie, and help me not go to prison, then ask me where another needle's at so you can get some dope. You know what I mean? And I don't blame, whoever I'm hanging around, I don't ever put any kind of good in it, because we're all fucked. We're all doing dope. We're all trying to not feel, you know. But I spent 14 years, like I said, off and on behind bars. Where I got what I had, and I did drugs in prison. Shit, I've been dope sick in prison before, because you can get drugs anywhere. Till my last bit, that's when these visions, and that's what I'm going to start talking about. I always want to be honest about shit, man. I never want to lie about anything, man. If you get it out, that's why I don't understand. I was the biggest liar, man, but it is so free to tell the truth. It is so free to just fucking keep it gangster, not have to manipulate. It's so heavy on a soul. It's so heavy on a person when you lie, when you manipulate, when you judge, when you deflect and point out all the specks in somebody else's eye when you got a million in yours. I never understood that, man. So I always rock with Jesus. He's a gangster to me, dude. He got it. He understood. He understood that why he said, did you visit the ones in prison? Because the ones that in prison are so fucking in desperation. They've been through so much, most of them, that they want it. They're hungry for food. They're hungry for knowledge. They're hungry to, how do I live? I can tell you how to die, but I couldn't tell you how to live. But I can tell you how to live today. One day at a time. I had to own being flawed, not being perfect. I used to think when I got quit doing dope, I was entitled to things. This entitlement. I'm sober. I went you might as well look at like I'm wearing a fucking sign on my head. Who gives a fuck? You know how many people out here are working their balls off, not using drugs, who have been through the same shit? It's like, come on, man, I had to wake up. And once I woke up, that's when the vision started. That's when these beings started coming to me. And that's when I started aligning with frequencies that I had no clue existed. Yes, I always thought there was something deeper, something more meaningful than even the Bible would say. I knew that God would never denounce women. I knew God would never say, well, women can't testify. And that's exactly what they did to Mary Magdalene or any woman. She was the one that saw Jesus resurrect. Went to the tomb. She's the one that saw her and they said James' mother, Mary, Jesus' mom, I think Susan and Martha, which is Mary Magdalene's sister. But, in Luke it talks about, but Mark says it was Peter and all. No. And I dug into that. Why? Why? Because women had no voice. It's just like in prison, man. In prison, you are not your name, you're a number. Doesn't matter if you're in prison for selling pot, murdering somebody, it doesn't matter. You are a number, inmate 48949, and there's more men working in there than there is women. And they do not believe you. You could get, anything could happen in there, and if it's a staff person doing it, you better hope you get pregnant, or you better hope a staff member catches something, or, because they're not going to believe you. That's how it is. And a lot of it, people manipulate it and all that, and I get it, I understand. But I think that's something that I don't care if a million women or men lie about somebody doing something to them. Take each case serious. Believe them, or at least don't assume that it's not true. Because I guarantee there's always some truth in a lie. So, I could go off on these tangents. I wanted to talk about my visions and shit, but so I don't know, what was I saying? So when I got out, let's talk about before. So you guys know I've told you about my last bit. So I went to jail in 2010 for doing the credit card numbers, which is horrible. You know, people I didn't even know, ruin a job. You know, also reputation. You know, somebody, the aunt, the niece. She helped me. My friends' parents took me in, and my kids. And there I go, fucked that up because I stayed with somebody who wanted to get high too, and frankly, I never stopped. Actually, no, we started back using. That's right. And it just was stupid. It's birds of a feather flock together. Period. And it's not. You can't blame anybody else. You can't blame what you do. No, not even a drug. I don't even believe in triggers. I'm the fucking trigger. I can't. The drugs don't come out of a fucking drawer and go in my arm. No. I can't stand when I hear a bitch, when I hear a female or I hear anyone come up with excuses of why I got high because I wanted to get high. Because I wanted to be stupid. Because I didn't want to live. Be real. I was too scared. I didn't know how to live out here. Doing 14 years. Fuck, I'm 45 now, but I got out 2014. I ain't been back to prison since. I went in 2010 or 29. I had my son in jail. I told you guys about that. I was on methadone, and I had to give my daughter power of attorney to my sister. She was 3 years old. I was in the hole because I was taking methadone, and you can't be around population, they call it, in a Tennessee jail because they'll think you try to sneak whatever to whoever. And they weren't educated on methadone, really. I think I was the first female that ever came to that little jail fucked up. But they let me see my baby, and they let me see my sister who came to get my baby. They signed power of attorney. I'll never forget. Because at that point, they weren't giving me methadone. It was like I'd been there for 3 days, and I was dying, dope sick. And the baby could have died. I was telling them, like, you got to get me on methadone. You don't understand, it's going to hurt the baby. And they thought I was just saying that so that, I had to get high. And that was half truth, too. But it was also because the baby, I started bleeding. Well, I couldn't even walk. And you know how horrible it is? I wish that, and hope that my daughter doesn't remember that. She was young. She was 2 or 3, and they wished 2, I think. They had to wheel me out in a wheelchair because I couldn't walk. 9 months pregnant with abscess in my arms. Okay? That's how fucked up. Heroin. That's how fucked up I was. That's choices I made, though, and I own that, and I asked for forgiveness, man. And it's because I was a coward. I didn't know how to face any traumas. I didn't know how to live without dope. I can say that now. I didn't know how to live without feeling. I didn't want to feel. I had been through so much in my life that most people you wouldn't even believe it, really. If I told you, you'd say I was lying, because I used to lie so much. Anyway, I was scrolling again, but I had to share this because I know there's women that have had their babies in jail, and I'll tell you what, it's one of the hardest things I ever did. One of the hardest was getting wheeled out in a wheelchair, and my little baby crying, wanting me. And we were moving from house to house. I had bed bugs and lice on my head. I was so sick and fucked up. And that baby had lice because of me. I made the decision to through this. I put my baby through this. So I told Amy, my sister, to please take my child, so that I don't want her to see any of this, please. And she did. And I wanted to see my baby. They always got me with my kid. And I said, look, I want to turn myself in. I don't want to be here. I don't, without her, without any, I'm ready to lay it down. I was already on the news, all that. So, that's really what happened when I did. I turned myself in, and I didn't know if I was going to go to jail for 10 years or what. But I just wanted to see my babies. And that was my last bit. Anyway, so, bits and bits. But that was one of the hardest things, was getting wheeled out there with these big ass, like, look like spider bites all through my arms, but they were from needles. And, because I didn't know, I'm not a nurse, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I had no business poking my body. I did not care. I did not care. It's crazy, man. It got to the point, man, my last go round. You know, I haven't touched shit since 2018, November 24th. But I remember I would just, God, let this be it. Let me not be here, please. Every time. And I've OD'd and got pulled out of hell so many times from Jesus. And why? Why me? I'm fucked up. Why me, man? There's a million fucking Carol Brady's and good ass people that don't get in trouble that, you know, why me? I don't deserve to be set. You know, that's how I thought, you know. So after I had, you know, I went out there and cried. It was horrible. They had to send me to the hospital. They said I was bleeding too much. And the hospital guy, I'll never forget, he gave me methadone. He said, you guys can get sued if you don't dose her. That is illegal, blah, blah, blah. She needs to be released. Well, they didn't want to release me, which I don't blame them because I was getting high. So they started giving me methadone. And I ended up bleeding again and having to have the baby. And I was chained, one part of me, my arm, handcuffed while I'm pushing a baby out, you know. And there was a cop that drove me. Actually, he was my neighbor, not my neighbor, but where I lived, the neighbor who were my kids, like grandparents who were sober, and really that's where they lived, and thank God for them. But it was their nephew, and he cared for me, man. I don't know what he saw in me, but he was like, man, you are better than this. Like, why are you doing this to yourself, you know? And the guy I was with was like 13 years older, you know, and it was just crazy. And so anyway, which that doesn't, like especially that age and shit, that don't mean anything. I'm not saying that, but when you're young, it does. It really does. It does something. There's a, you know, if you're like my age dating somebody older, okay. But when you're a kid, and like I started dating, you know, a guy when I was like 17, and he was like 34. So I don't even know, whatever. And so that's just, yeah. So, so they let me be there the whole time, like 3 days, and that was the longest I could be there. And I had the baby, and I can't believe it. They let my ex take my baby home because the baby didn't have anything in the system. So that was a blessing. But they said I still have to pump milk since I couldn't stay in the hospital because I was in jail, and I couldn't really breastfeed him, that I had to pump milk in the jail. And really, I think we did that. He did that so that I could, you know, at least be able to see the baby, or so. I don't know, but because I was told that the baby didn't even get the milk, but I didn't know that. So when I was in the jail, I was in the hole, and I'm using a handmade pump, you know, barely crying, because buddy, on the way I was crying out for my baby boy so much. I mean, it hurt so much to just have him they took him away from me, and it was my fault, you know, but it hurt like hell. And I still got high after, you know, go figure. But that's my past. Just, I'm so grateful, man, that I kicked that shit, and I kicked it. Trust me, I kicked it. Because I've been through so much shit now, and I'm not going to use, period. I'd remove that. So anyway, it's the third day, and I had to take it. They took him, and I had to get in the clap car. I'm in pain, and taking methadone. The second day, right, and they were making fun of me. The CEOs would be like, the milk lady, come on, oh, the milkman's here, because my baby's dad would pick up the milk. Sounds crazy, but it's true. And I'll never forget, this nurse was so mean to me and judgmental. And she was like, well, I talked to the pediatrician, and we can't have methadone. Basically, they couldn't go get the methadone, and they didn't want to pay for me to go to a methadone clinic. So they put me on 280 milligram Oxycontins. Okay. I was done. And it was such a little jail. They would have a little cup and they would let me sleep in the morning and I'd wake up to a fucking 80 milligram Oxycontin underneath my door. I wore white t-shirts under my fucking, I'll never forget this, my blues, they called it. Well, you couldn't tell. You'd think it was green from the coating because I would be snorting them. That was horrible. And I couldn't. She said that that methadone wasn't good for the baby. That Oxycontin. It was just a bunch of. I could sue that. It was just fucked up. But I'm not. I'm saying it was a long time ago. Anyway, so that was really hard for me. And I remember nodding out, man, in the shower in the CO, like, Katie, what, I mean, come on, we've talked, you're a good person, like, you love the Lord, like, don't give up, like, what are you doing? And I decided to detox quicker than I could have. I could have took more pills and kept going because they were dosing me down. After I got done breastfeeding, because sometimes the milk wouldn't even come, and he'd have to come bring a fucking spit up of my son, spit up so I could smell it because I couldn't hold my son, hoping the milk would drop. And I was sneaking my baby's dad fucking Oxycontin in the milk. It was crazy. Breast milk, fucking nuts. I'm just telling you what addiction does. I cannot make this stuff up. And did white collar, like I did things where Walgreens pharmacy wanted to hire me. Nobody could figure out how that couldn't get caught. And I was going all over the states. I mean, I'm not bragging. I'm a good actor, so I could be an old lady. I could be a man, a woman. Like my voice, I could talk like this, or like, it didn't matter. And it's sick. And I had a way where I knew I couldn't get caught. But eventually you do, because eventually somebody's going to tell. And I had a big book of DEA numbers, and bam. Anyway. And really, they couldn't prove it because I beat one case because it was not me. It was me, but it wasn't me that went in there. I never went in the pharmacy because they couldn't get me if I just used the phone. So it was horrible because I just picked other people that were addicted and tell them I'd split them with them. They'd have money. I have money if they picked it up. But so in and out of jail, and this was the last bit. In 2010, I got sentenced to about 4 years. And because I still had that case, and I don't even want to talk about all that. What that was charged with in Tennessee was bullshit, but that's okay. I mean, really bullshit. So anyway, at first I did the shave in the head. Actually, when they questioned me, and this is crazy, but when they questioned me, the police, when they finally caught me, when I got, I was on the run and all that crap, and they took me to Indian Hill jail, I'm sorry, the sheriff's office. I was like, well, am I going to jail or whatever? Yeah, you're going to jail. We can't charge you with a felony right now, but at least a misdemeanor. I'm like, oh, shit. But I thought, I'm done anyway, because I knew the felonies were Hamilton County or Claremont County wanted me and all this crap. I said, do you have any scissors? And yeah, why? I had long, pretty hair, was wearing Ugg boots. This is horrible. This is what drugs do. And so my mind was already set because I got sentenced, which I've never seen anybody do this. I got sentenced on my bond hearing. I didn't want nothing. I want to go to prison. I knew I could have a girlfriend, have food, even if nobody took care of me, I would do whatever, just to survive. It's whatever, right? So I'm like, hey, I think I have lice. Do you have scissors? And they're like, yeah. And the guy's like, why, Katie? And I'm like, I just need to cut my hair. Because I figured if I went into the jail, because before I had long hair and then shaved it, and they would make fun of me, like, she's not gay, she's gay for this day. So then I thought, well, if I cut my hair and go into the jail and be bald, then they can't say that, right? And this is crazy. This is what drugs do to you. And it's not funny, but it's the truth. So I used scissors. I mean, big ass paper, like those big black scissors, not even hair scissors. They put me in their little cell, and it says an office, like a sheriff's office, right? Now, can you imagine what they were saying? I was bent over cutting every chunk of my hair. I didn't have clippers either, so it looked crazy as fuck. I didn't care, man. I did not. This is how sick addiction takes you. It took me. I did not care. I was numb. Numb. But I always knew, like, there's a God. So fuck it. Just do what you gotta do. Get through it, you know? And God's always been with me, spoke to me no matter what. I've always felt. But when I was on drugs, it's like I lost that connection because I chose to. I chose to turn my back, you know? And you got to be careful because sometimes when you can turn your back, and you may not get that chance to be pulled out, you know? And I don't know how long I've been talking, and sometimes I don't got a lot of storage on here. Yeah, it's like an hour. So, God, I'm never going to get to these damn visions. Well, I'll talk. I'll talk to you guys in a little bit. I'll finish the story. I'm outside and I'm freezing. um, Whoever's listening. All right. Love you guys. Bye.